Welcome back. A 2 News ongoing investigation has uncovered even more preventable deadly crimes.
Inadequate supervision of Utah's most dangerous criminals by adult probation and parole is the central issue here, and Wendy Halloran has been tracking it for months. Wendy, what's the latest?
Well, Mark and Heidi, AP&P has denied me access to records they don't want you to see. Thanks to whistleblowers, I can share with you details that paint an alarming picture of repeated supervision failures. My sources say it's a game of Russian roulette with people's lives. Once the Metro Gang Unit's public enemy number one.
We're talking about a really violent gang, the Black Mafia gangsters.
Terrence Voss has led a life of crime, from drive-by shootings to aggravated assault and stabbing another inmate with a shank.
It was a perfect storm of failure, starting with the Board of Pardons releasing him.
Did AP&P do enough to properly supervise him?
There was nobody in that house but an empty GPS without a leg.
And now, a body.
And the way that she was left, like she was nothing on the side of the freeway.
Captured, covered in blood.
I hope that man rots in hell for the rest of his life.
It's a game of Russian roulette with people's lives.
I can't even pretend to understand how difficult that would be to be released under those circumstances.
Terrence Voss was paroled early from prison, a compassionate release on January 16, 2020, after his 4-year-old daughter was murdered.
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Despite being given this chance, this is Voss being arrested by UHP for drunk driving just over a month later.
And though I made a mistake and violated my parole, I am not thumbing my nose at supervision.
His attorney weighs in.
My recommendation is he serve the JRI and be released for another parole.
We have Agent Walzer here with us.
His parole agent calls in at the tail end.
.118, which is fairly intoxicated, as we all know, that the board just take that into consideration.
Making it appear as though I just got out and gave 2 giant middle fingers to parole.
Internal documents obtained by 2 News Investigates containing secret information about AP&P's supervision of Voss show he did precisely that. Voss was classified as a high risk, meaning he required heightened supervision. But our investigation uncovered violation after violation without any action from Voss's parole agent or supervisor.
They both just dropped the ball.
Voss was granted early parole on May 21, 2020 due to COVID. June 19, 2020, his parole agent attempted a field visit. The home had multiple bullet holes. No answer at the door.
He's a violent gang member. You go to his house the first time out and you see bullet holes in his house and you do nothing about it?
2 News obtained this Standards of Supervision document, which says a parole agent must have a successful face-to-face residential contact with the offender every 60 days. That didn't happen with Voss. Documents show 6 visits spanning from July 2020 to January of this year, where the agent went to Voss's house, but he did not see Voss, writing no answer at the door despite his new ankle monitor showing he was at home. I gave him plenty of opportunity to come to the door, plus the dogs were barking loudly.
He did not see him face to face one time.
Our whistleblower said each one of these visits should have resulted in immediate action from the AP&P agent.
He should have gotten a warrant for his arrest right there.
Within how much time?
Within 24 hours. I would have went back to my office and wrote a warrant on him right there.
On January 30th, 2021, Salt Lake police responded to a restaurant where a bloodied Shandon Scott told them Voss beat her up after accusing her of flirting with another man. She also divulged he'd assaulted her back in November, breaking her leg, requiring surgery that night. Scott's friend, Heather Redford.
Months ago, when prior events of domestic violence had occurred, we told her to stop.
A confidential document shows Voss's parole agent was contacted by Salt Lake PD that day and made aware Scott had been assaulted. At that point, the agent finally took action and wrote a warrant for Voss's arrest to the Board of Pardons and Parole. But for almost 2 months, Voss was nowhere to be found until May 1st of this year.
There was a car accident, shots fired, somebody was shot at.
Shandon Scott's body was found in a car on I-80.
This female has been shot multiple times.
Shame on the board for letting him out, but shame on AP&P for allowing him to stay out. That's their job.
I requested an interview with Dan Blanchard, the director of AP&P, to ask him why the agent took no action when violations occurred and why his supervisor allowed it. But the answer was no. And Mike Haddon, the director of the Board of Pardons and Parole, also refused to talk. So I went to Tom Ross, the executive director of the Commission on Criminal and Juvenile Justice.
I'm here sitting with you because I'm not running from this. I know why I was brought in.
Do we have a supervision problem in this state?
I think we have a supervision challenge.
I asked Ross specifically about the Voss case and his many chances at rehabilitation and parole.
There can be unintended consequences.
Ross was informed about Voss's criminal history in advance of the interview, but said he could not speak about APMP or the Board of Pardons and Parole. Instead, he said,
And I'm going to do everything I can in my role as from the policy perspective to try to look at it and see what do we learn from this? What can we improve going forward? And were the right things at play?
5 days after Shandon Scott was murdered, Voss's parole agent amended his warrant request, writing that initially Voss was doing well with his parole. However, in light of the circumstances, it appears as if that is not the case. The Salt Lake County District Attorney's Office is still screening the case for criminal charges. We have much more on Voss, his criminal history, and supervision on our website, KUTV.com.
Wendy, thank you very much.